Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson, and we're continuing our study. I think we'll bring our study about Rebekah to a close today. Hopefully, maybe we'll need one more. I don't know. But this is part of our larger study of matriarchs, the women we really get to know in the book of Genesis. And I'm hoping, in the same way we have a greater appreciation of Hagar, we have a greater appreciation of Rebekah at this point. Rebekah is a major character, a major player, a major personage that we really get to know in the book of Genesis. And I don't think she looms large at all in our study and our imagination. And she ought to. If we remember anything about Rebekah, we remember what she does in chapter 27 when she schemes with her son Jacob, her preferred son Jacob, to get the blessing, the patriarchal blessing, the handing over, as it were, of the head of household, spiritually more than anything else, from father to son, because this is the family of promise through Abraham. Now, before we get there, we know that God has already told her before the boys were even born that Jacob was the one, not Esau. God told her that from the beginning. But we also see why before we get to this moment. In the first place, Esau's not a guy who stays at home and helps out on the farm. He's not somebody who helps manage, their enormous holdings. And Isaac, if anything, as we read the book of Genesis, is as rich or richer than his dad. He runs out and hunts all the time. I mean, he doesn't take responsibility. It doesn't matter to him. But he's his dad's favorite because Isaac has a taste for game, and which we learn later on. But anyway, those things are not important to Esau. We have this episode in chapter 25, at the end of chapter 25, where he comes in from hunting and he's been unsuccessful and he's hungry, and Jacob is making lentil stew because he's home and helping with the cooking. He's making lentil stew, and Esau says, "Give me some." And Jacob says, "Trade me the birthright." See, if you have two sons, the oldest gets a double portion of the inheritance, gets 2/3. The younger son gets a third, and he sells literally a third of the wealth of the family for a bowl of lentil soup. I love lentil stew, but heavens, not at that price. And is he about to die? I doubt it. Did he feel that way? Maybe. Is this dumb? Yes. But beyond that, it illustrates how little the things that are important to the family and to the covenant mean to him. And we read this again at the end of chapter 26. When Esau was 40 years old, he married Judith, the daughter of Beeri, the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon, the Hittite. Are these Arameans? Are they Semites? Has he gone back home the way his Abraham did for his dad to find wives? No, he did not. And it says in verse 35, and this brought grief to Isaac and Rebekah. So it doesn't, things that are important to the covenant are not important to Esau. I'm not saying he's a bad man otherwise. And we have some wonderful moment later when the brothers reunite and forgive each other. And I mean, anyway, Jacob is forgiven. And I'm not saying he was a bad man. I'm saying that God said from the very beginning, Jacob's the one. And we see from the very beginning that Jacob, with all of his issues, and they all the chickens come home to roost for him too. They all do. But the thing is that the family and the things of the covenant are important to him in a way they are not important to Esau. So Rachel schemes with Jacob to steal the birthright. And we know the story. Isaac is blind. He loves Esau better. He tells Esau, "I'm going to give you the blessing, but go make me some venison. Go kill a deer and prepare it the way I like it." And so Rebekah, it's kind of a humorous story, actually. Rebekah, they kill a goat, but they prepare it properly. And the first time I ever ate goat, I mean, just like a goat steak, like a piece of goat meat, was in India. And I didn't know what it was. And I said, I don't know what this is, but it sure tastes like venison. It tastes like deer meat. And and they said, well, it's goat. And I said, well, okay, that makes sense then. So Rebecca could prepare the dish. She'd been married to this man for how long now? 60 years they've been married because the boys are 40. She knows how to make a dish that he likes. So she can handle that in. And this is her plan. The text makes that clear as well. This is her plan. Um, so she decides, well, how am I going to pass this guy off as Esau? I'll glue goat skin to him, and that way he'll be hairy and he'll smell like a goat, and his dad will think it's Esau. So that's what they do, and it's kind of funny, Isaac says, "Smells like Esau, feels like Esau, doesn't sound like Esau, but man, this deer is good." So he gives the blessing to Jacob right at the last minute. Esau, gets there and 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 he's just crushed. I mean, he's dad's favorite. He's the one who's supposed to. What did matter to him was his dad and his relationship with his dad, and it meant something to him to be head of household. And now it's been taken away. And Isaac said, "No, no, I'm not doing this over. I did it once, and now it's done." And I'm sure, I am sure that Rebecca did not keep a secret what God had said to her before the boys were born. I know this because Rebecca speaks her mind, and we'll see that in just a second. So anyway, Esau wants to kill his brother. Isaac and Rebecca together save his life by sending him back home to Bethuel's house, to Laban's house, where he can stay for a while. And then they send Jacob off to do that. And anyway, and that's what happens there. And Esau then marries a third wife, Esau, who can't do anything exactly right. So where did he take this wife? From the Egyptians. Anyway, the last words we have from Rebecca, and I love this, after they send Jacob away, and one son's gone on down the road, and the other son's looking for him to kill him. These are her last words to her husband. I love this. I love this so much. Rebekah said to Isaac, I am tired of living because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob takes a wife from the daughters of Heth like these, from the daughters of the land, what good will my life be to me? What does that have to do with anything at this point? They've just sent their son away. You know what she's saying to him? She's saying to him, don't you start with me. These awful daughters-in-law that this son that you prefer has brought into our household, how have they improved our life? How is our standard of life, quality of life been improved by this your favorite son? Don't start with me. That is exactly what she's doing, and I love it. I just love it. I just love it. Pointing out to him that his favorite son is in no way fit to be the head of household. Um, anyway, well, that's what we know about Rebecca, and we're going to be talking about her nieces, actually, Laban's two daughters, Rachel and Leah. We're going to introduce them together, and then we'll talk about Leah first, and then Rachel. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, and we'll pick up there next time.